Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Youthman. Today we're in Kansas City, Missouri. We're filming 9 home theater tours in a period of just 4 days. And today I've got an incredible home theater to share with you here in downtown Kansas, Missouri. We're gonna head inside and meet an incredible couple, Chuck and Angela. So let's head on inside.
Hey Michael, so nice to have you in our home here in downtown Kansas City. My name's Chuck.
I'm Angela.
And we are on the top floor, the 3rd floor of a building that was built in 1888. About 2008, it was renovated into a condo. We moved in 2016. Updated some lighting, added some artwork, so...
And the most important thing, we added a home theater.
Most important thing. So come on, let us show you the rest of the place.
There's another member of the household, Coach, our cat.
Yeah. He's a vocal boy, so you might catch him. But one of the things when we first saw this place and fell in love with was this hallway is ridiculous. Fun fact, we have shot bow and arrows down this hallway. But then we got smart and decided that's probably not the best idea in the world. As we come through, we have what we call our rec room, pool table, which has been undercover since we got Coach as a kitten because we don't trust him. Radiohead, my favorite band, Pixies, Angela's favorite band.
We were actually at the concert.
We were at this concert where this was a poster for. Have a nice little Samsung 60-inch plasma TV, some JTR Slant 8 speakers up there, and an Integra receiver. The other stuff up there is the network equipment, and run by an old Harmony remote. Gotta love those Harmonies. Gotta find a replacement for those Harmonies.
We really love to listen to music or throw on a movie or put on sports or something while I kick somebody's butt in pool.
Yeah, that's usually how it happens. Then let's see. Got our spiral staircase going up. We'll probably see that later. Some of the artwork, and you're going to see a lot more of this sort of artwork later. An artist who makes cool things out of waste. What he can find at junkyards, scrap yards. Yeah.
Coach agrees.
Yeah. So down here is our main living room system. It's a 2-channel, well, 2.1 Dynaudio C1 speakers. We have a SVS cylinder sub tucked away in the corner, and it's all run by a Hegel integrated Sony OLED. So yeah, this is where we do most of our TV watching. Some of our favorite artwork behind us that was provided by my friend Danny Zagoni, who's a photographer, Daisy Photography. The cork in the top center photo was from a bottle of wine that I gave him for his 50th birthday. So,
And we actually met Danny when Chuck started getting into a lot of the home theater stuff. We'd have get-togethers, and so that's where we actually first met Danny, and now he's become a good friend. And he was awesome enough. We told him we love wine. We're big fans of wine, and so we asked him to put together and take some photos of different wine themes, and so we could kind of have a nice little wine collage set up in the back.
Also here we have a projector. It doesn't get used that often, but if there's something we want to, say we're cooking a big meal, or Angela sometimes likes to do puzzles on the kitchen counter, so we can drop down a screen. It's just a 4x3 screen. It was put in with the original build out of the condo, so we're not super high def or anything, but yeah, we can just throw it on this projector and go about our business. Then over here is our kitchen. As you can see, we have quite a few seats there, so when we entertain, have family and friends over, there's plenty of room to get around the table. Probably don't cook as much as we should.
Probably don't, but
hey,
we have the important thing, a wine fridge.
Yes.
As I said, we like wine.
And so along with entertaining, one nice treat we have here is up this spiral staircase, and we'll show you the view we have out here.
Yeah, this was one of the things that really drew us to this place, because downtown living, not every condo has outdoor living space, or they may have a little bit of a balcony, but since we're on the top floor, We have
a deck.
we have a deck on a roof, so you'll see it's quite unique, especially as I said.
Welcome to downtown Kansas City, Missouri. We're at what would be the northwestern edge of the city. More of your financial or big business district is off to the southeast there. Where you're turning to now, Michael, is called the Garment District. So a lot of these older buildings were, where they make clothes. And again, all these buildings around here are circa, late 1800s. Let's see, what else we got? We got our downtown airport. So every summer there's an air show, and they usually fly out of the downtown airport, which is right over there. So we have like the Blue Angels buzzing our rooftop, which is kind of cool, kind of nerve-wracking the first time you hear one of those things, or actually 5 or 6 of those things whipping past your head, but it's the price you have to pay. I'll take it. What else? Angela actually works in one of those buildings. It's about a 10-minute walk to those big skyscrapers you see. One of the other interesting things, so you can see this building that has the Trozzolo label on it. Then there's a lower building, kind of a flat building, and then an old brownstone. There was a place in there called Primus Audio Pleasure, and that was the first place I heard Dynaudio loudspeakers, and in fact the C2s, which are in the home theater, I heard those there and thought, this is it, this is my dream speaker. Never thought I'd ever actually get to own those speakers, but here we are. And unfortunately the store closed. That was in 2006, 2007. And at the time, it was before the revitalization of downtown Kansas City started. So at the time, there weren't a lot of people living downtown. Now that whole building is condos, just like so many others down in this area. So it's really cool to be a part of, to see, people coming back and living in downtown. We lived in the suburbs, big house, big lawn, big driveway that had to be shoveled. And now, maintenance free. It's a choice for me. Mm-hmm. Love it.
One of the other cool things is so we're on the 3rd floor, and then the 1st floor is a jazz club. And so sometimes they have, they a lot of times have jazz they have a Sunday brunch, Saturday brunch, and they have it in the evenings. And we can actually hear it sometimes up here, so we can just come up here on a nice evening and get that jazz music for free. Now we're gonna be going into the most important area of the condo, the home theater. And this was one that I was not a fan of, or I wasn't interested in getting a home theater back when we lived in a house, and Chuck really wanted one, and I just thought it might be a waste of space, and he convinced me, and so we did do a home theater, and I haven't looked back. It is so amazing to have one, and when we moved downtown here, the #1 priority was to have space for a home theater, because it is so much better than I would have ever imagined.
People thought we were crazy when it's like, you're gonna have a home theater in a condo, but again, the space is pretty unique. There's no one above us. The people below us live above a jazz club, so they can, we figure they can deal with a movie night every once in a while. So without further ado, I say we take a look. One of the first features you'll notice is we do have double doors. And not only that, Angela, if you wouldn't mind going in there, but we have a step up. So we built the floor up so that we could put an underlayment and insulation to help, protect our neighbors. We're right above their master bedroom, so we don't want to be total jerks with them. So we tried to soundproof that as much as we could. The room itself we have 16 feet, 5 inches width. Length is right about 17 feet, and the ceiling height with the step up is 9 feet, 9 inches. It's a 7.1.4 setup. We do have 2 subwoofers, but it's only, 1 channel. So 2 Rythmik F12 subwoofers. All the speakers are Dynaudio, which I fell in love with these the first time I heard it, the first Dynaudios I heard were actually C2s across the way there at the Primus Audio Pleasure. And a pair came up for sale about the time we were moving in here, and I grabbed it. So those C2s we bought used. These speakers that we use as rear surrounds, these are from the Dynaudio Contour line. Those were used as well. The center channel is the Confidence bookshelf, so it's the same that you saw, that's out in our living room. We have the pair of C1s out in the living room. We have the third C1 that we use as a center channel in this room. Acoustically transparent screen, of course, which I feel is a major upgrade over the previous home theater we had, where we just had the center channel on the floor or on a little stand pointing up. To have that locked in behind the screen is just awesome. One of the things we really wanted in this theater, since we use it pretty much 50% music, 50% movies, I wanted to have a sweet spot, right, for music. So I wanted an armrest that I could flip up, flip down. So watching a movie, we can both, kick back. And then once I kick her out and it's time to listen to music, I just lift that up, boom, I'm in the sweet spot. So one interesting aspect that you may have noticed is the screen is actually hanging from the ceiling. Again, this building was built in 1888. This front wall actually has 3 windows that are 7 feet tall, 3 feet wide. If anything were to happen, we need easy access to that. So we found a company called Acoustimac. They create these panels called Sound Lock. So we have 3 huge panels, one in front of each of the windows to block out sound and light. And then in front of that, we have some more just black acoustic panels. It's covering up the brick. If we didn't, and there's also velvet hanging from that because, as the projector shines through, we found out real quick, it hits that brick behind the screen and bounces back. So we had to cover all that brick behind the screen with the black acoustic panels and the black velvet. As far as acoustic treatments go, so we brought a lot of these panels from our previous theater. But once we got in the space, we realized that there was still a bit of a slap echo across the top. So we ended up getting these panels from GIK, some different types of diffusers. And that's really helped balance out the sound in the room. We have the cloud, or the overhead panels to help with first reflection point off the ceiling, which, by the way, the ceiling and the walls were painted by Angela, so she's really gotten involved. I mean, I think, I don't know. She also built these shelves for our DVDs and painted those. And another big contribution to the room, which we love, are the robots. Angela found an artist who works out of Massachusetts, I believe, who makes robots from parts he finds in junkyards, scrap yards, flea markets. And we found them, fell in love with them, actually commissioned him to KC, and Sunshine, which we hired him to build for us. This is supposed to be a robot doing the robot, but man, we need to cut that.
When we first built out the home theater, we had to do some demo, and we have this here, and then there were empty shelves, and it's like, okay, now we've got to fill this with something and decorate it, and we just came up with the idea of robots, and so I just Googled and found this artist, and we love the idea, and this was the first one. It's called General, so he just takes scrap parts and makes them into artwork, and the focus was really on the robots, and so you can see just random pieces that are put together very nicely to form a robot.
And then over here we have my favorite. He's Eddie, and Eddie's a happy robot. And it just cracks me up that he seems to have a smile on his face, and I don't know, I just really dig him. And he has forks for shoulder blades. That's cool. So while we're here, talking a little bit about the projector, it's the JVC X750R, also known as the RS500, I believe. One thing that I do regret is we just have it sitting on a shelf. This makes it very hard to dial in for calibration. If you need to level it, if you need to angle it, it's very difficult to do. So the previous home theater, you know, we had our projector on a ceiling mount, and it's like 3 screws, adjust, bam, you got it dialed in. So anyone looking, thinking that they want to put their projector on a shelf, I would highly, highly recommend going with the ceiling mount instead if you can. So while we're back here, also we have the equipment rack. An Anthem AVM60 is the main component. Panasonic UHD player, you know, APC for power. Honestly, we use the Apple TV 4K more than anything else. And let's see what else we got back here. In the lower section, kind of hard to see. We have 2 Class D audio amplifiers, 4-channel, which is driving the 4 Atmos speakers, and a 2-channel, which is driving the 2 rear surround speakers. Another aspect of the room acoustics is we have some built-in bass traps. So this is acoustically transparent fabric, and then it's stuffed with the pink fluffy stuff to help tame the bass waves. Since the room did turn out to be a little more square than I had hoped for. So, you know, having these bass traps, and we have the corner traps at the front of the room just to try and give us a nice, even, smooth bass response. So one last thing I kind of want to point out is when we were building this, we didn't really think about HVAC that much. So I'm guessing you don't mind, but it can get warm in here because we don't have an air return. So air doesn't have a way to escape, which means cold air, you know, it's kind of hard to get into the room. But again, you still always bring in a blanket, don't you?
Yeah, I still always have a blanket, even when it gets warmer in here. But well, thank you for joining. We hope you enjoyed our home. We really love the whole home, but this home theater, no regrets. As Chuck had mentioned, I was pretty actively involved in helping out, so I didn't want it just to be Chuck's theater. I wanted it to be our theater. Yeah. Chuck has done a great job with the remote controls of making things, because it can be intimidating with all of the equipment. And so Chuck has done a wonderful job of programming the remote controls so I can just push a button and come in here by myself without having to rely on him. And so it really makes it feel like it's our theater as opposed to just Chuck's. And so we hope you enjoyed it.
Well, Chuck and Angela, thank you seriously so much for inviting us into this beautiful home in downtown Kansas City, Missouri. You've got a beautiful place, but just a beautiful story. I love the fact that both of you are just as passionate about home theater and music and just doing this together as a couple. We don't really see that a lot of times in the home theater space. So to kind of find a couple that loves that passionately together is pretty cool. And one kind of story that I've got, an experience that I shared, this is my first time hearing Dynaudio, which was phenomenal. You've got a great sounding system, but I don't do a whole lot of music listening. And we were going through some music, and we were even just listening to YouTube, which isn't the highest resolution audio, but there was a track that you played by a lady.
Allison Luff.
Allison Luff. I've never heard of her. Holy cow. The emotion in that video, the sound, just everything, her lips, just the way that you just tell, like she was just intense on this thing. Now I'm a grown man, and I'm in a room with grown men, and I'm like looking around to see if there's onions in the room because I'm almost ready to cry. It was just so deep. I'm literally going to post a link down in the description to that video. Go check it out, guys. It is seriously, it's beautiful, but I love your story. I love your family. I love your cats. They're awesome. But just seriously, thank you so much for inviting us into your home. We're in here in Kansas City, Missouri, and over in Kansas City, Kansas, doing several home theater tours. We've got 9 of them here on this tour, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we'll catch you in the next video. And I'll wrap it up. Cool.
Awesome.
I think that'll work perfect.